Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell, Dave Brown, right along ringside, ready to go. Another big day, championship wrestling, Davey.
Oh, we are ready. The Gibson brothers are going to be here in the opening tag team match of the day. They'll be going against the Nightmare and Speed. Should be a fine opening match. Then we'll have in here the Monk and the Angel. They will be all teamed up. Monk and the Angel as a tag team today. Jerry the King Lawler will be in action against Gypsy Joe. It'll be the superstar Bill Dundee in a single match. Norvell Austin also in a single match today. And the Dream Machine teamed up with crazy Luke Graham against Rick McCord and the Thundercloud for the expiration of time.
I'll tell you one thing. They are all gathering, the tag teams, looking at the Dream and Crazy Luke. Big team right there together. The Monk and the Angel. Goodness gracious, there's a lot of them, and we'll be seeing them all. Speaking of tag and tag belts, I want to get into the subject of, I think those folks who saw Championship Wrestling last week saw what was rather, in our mind, and apparently in a lot of your minds, a bizarre situation in which the Southern Tag belts changed hands as a result of Steve Keirn's activity with Norvell Austin. Now, during the interim period since our last Championship Wrestling program, the AWA, the governing body for the Alliance, reviewed this situation, as every time there is a change of belts, they must be notified immediately. And they were. The AWA took, to put it very mildly, a very dim view of the circumstances that took place. And Stanley Blackburn, who is the head of the AWA, said that they would not tolerate the action that took place in there for several reasons. One of them, it was a non-sanctioned situation, which was a spur-of-the-moment thing and not sanctioned by the AWA. Second thing, it was scheduled, if you'll remember, as a 10-minute time period because Steve was going to beat Norvell and did not have the usual 60-minute time limit on the championship situation. And the third thing is that they would not tolerate one man being able to control the belts, regardless of the intention of his partner or anything else. So the end result is that the AWA has nullified the action that took place. They did not give the belts back to Keirn and Dundee. They were upset about the situation that they were even put up. What they said is they are going to have a tournament, a quick round-robin tournament, in order to establish a new Southern Tag Championship team, and that the tournament will be supervised by the AWA so that the winner and the new Southern Tag champions will come out of that tournament. So, that's the information. We wanted to make that announcement to you. We've got action coming up. We're going to be back to it in just a moment. The ring with action coming up here in just one moment. Before we do, we're going to get the Gibsons who will be involved in the opening bout with Nightmare and Speed in a one-fall 15-minute time limit tag match. We can get Rick and Robert out here. We'll hustle it along here and get in the ring with the action for our first match on Championship Wrestling. Hello, Robert. Rick, how you doing, babe? All right, the Gibsons, like how they been active.
That's right, Lance. I'd like to say, this tag team tournament's coming up. It's unfortunately the way it came about, the belts are now in a tournament. Okay, I'd like to say, back when Steve Keirn and Bill Dundee had the belts, we were top contenders then, and we're still top contenders now. It's the wrong way they lost the belts. They're held up. So I'm going to say one thing. This week, when we go out there, we're going to go out at 110%, and we're going to come out champions.
Okay, good luck to you, Rick and Robert Gibson, and I'll tell you, they have never looked better as a tag team, and you better believe they've got their eyes on it, and the tournament will open up the opportunity for them. All righty, let's go to Davey, and we're about ready to go with our opening bout on Championship Wrestling.
Gibson's in the ring right now. Here come their opponents and more. As a matter of fact, I do not see their opponents.
Oh, shut up. Listen to those jerks over there, man. You know what? Let me tell you something, man. Speed and Nightmare were going to be wrestling out here today, but I wanted to give the people a real treat and give them a chance to see two of the greatest athletes in the world, and beautiful Bobby Eaton and Sweet Brown Sugar. I would stay out here, but I'm so busy. I don't even think I need to be on this show anymore, man. I've got other things to do with my time, baby.
Glad to hear that, Jimmy. All right, we've got a substitution in on the first family side of it. Total weight is going to run about 430 pounds or so from Union City, Tennessee, Sweet Brown Sugar, and from Huntsville, Alabama, beautiful Bobby Eaton, going against, from Pensacola, Florida, at 454 pounds, Rick and Robert Gibson. One fall, 15-minute time limit. Jerry Calhoun is the referee.
We're about ready to go, and this ought to be a dandy in here. Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Brown Sugar. No question they are a fine tag team, like them or not. And, of course, you know the caliber of the Gibson brothers, as we said a little earlier. They are really at their peak and are looking very good. So a pleasant opening bout right here on Championship Wrestling, Dave.
That's right. Kenny Shane is seated in the corner over here as the assistant manager of the first family. Jimmy Hart has left the area. After his opening comments, he departed as he promised he would. Robert Gibson. Nice hip toss. Sweet Brown Sugar on the mat. Brown Sugar quickly bounced back to his feet. Round behind. He's got a takedown on Robert Gibson. Fast move by Robert Gibson. Brown Sugar unable to set up on the hold. Robert just kept moving and got away from him. Sweet Brown Sugar over to the corner, makes the tag on beautiful Bobby Eaton. Beautiful Bobby Eaton. Oh, reversed by Robert Gibson. Eaton headed for the ropes. Robert quickly broke it and stepped back to the middle of the ring.
You know, I listened to Jimmy Hart talking to you out here, and he came up with saying we're going to give the people a chance to see Eaton and beautiful Bobby. He told me prior to going on the air in there that he had gotten a call from Nightmare and Speed and that they had car trouble and would be unable to be here, and so he brought out a surprise for us here in beautiful Bobby and Sweet Brown Sugar.
Still a fine match, tag team match, boys. We got beautiful Bobby Eaton in there now against Rick Gibson, and Gibson puts Eaton down on the mat, bars the left arm, and Eaton is immediately screaming that he had his hair pulled. Rick pulls him over closer to the corner, makes the tag on brother Robert. Robert over the ropes, grabs Bobby Eaton. We're very close to the 2-minute mark of this one. Overall time is 15 minutes, one fall only. Now there's hair pulling, but it was done by Bobby Eaton. He made the tag, and Sweet Brown Sugar greeted by Robert Gibson as he came flying halfway across the ring. Sweet Brown Sugar fired Robert Gibson into the ropes. Robert stepped over, drop kicks him, and Sweet Brown Sugar down to the mat. Brown Sugar nailed with a good drop kick by Robert Gibson. Brown Sugar himself famous for his drop kick. He was on the receiving end of that one. This is Rick Gibson back in after the tag. 2 minutes, 45 seconds into the action. Referee Jerry Calhoun asking Sweet Brown Sugar if he wanted to give it up on submission. He said no, so Rick Gibson puts on a little extra pressure. Rick makes the tag. Here's Robert. Many times we talked about how the Gibson brothers work as a tag team, keeping the fresh man in there, tagging out often. Robert Gibson converts to a head scissors. Sweet Brown Sugar, Coco Ware kicks out of it.
Davey, I made mention of the fact that Rick and Robert are at their peak right now. They're really working well together as they have, and the maturity that's come to them. I got to tell you, I've seen beautiful Bobby and Brown Sugar together only about 3 times, but they make a formidable tag team. They both can go as singles, we know that, but they're also working together very well as a tag team.
They are indeed. They've shown it here today in this match. We are now at 4 minutes into the action. Kenny Shane out of his chair tried to did it. Yeah, he nailed Robert in the back with that cane. You know, that's a question. referee Jerry Calhoun, and he's going to send him out of here if he doesn't sit down in that chair. Robert whips Bobby Eaton across the ring, and a mistake by Robert Gibson as he went in there after him, and Gibson was gone. Robert hit the turnbuckles hard. In the air, dropped across the knees, double backbreaker by Bobby Eaton and Sweet Brown Sugar. Rick calls for him. Come to the corner for the tag. Robert couldn't get there. Brown Sugar kept him away from the corner.
Really working on that back, Dave.
Yeah. Well, they dropped him across the knee, and then Brown Sugar followed with a right hand and then a knee to the back. Rick steps in without a tag. Now back out on the apron. Brown Sugar, though, gets over to his corner. He got the tag on Bobby Eaton. They're going to do it again. This time they don't drop him on his back. They drop him on his side, right on the ribs. 5 minutes, 15 seconds into the action. Up in the air, Robert Gibson body slammed by Bobby Eaton.
Boy.
Tag made on Brown Sugar. He just stands there, looks at Robert, and goes for that back. Rick Gibson steps in, double forearm across the back of Brown Sugar. But Bobby Eaton is in there now, and he takes over where Brown Sugar left off. Well, they did not get a tag. Brown Sugar had to come back in. Referee sent Bobby Eaton back to the corner. The damage done nonetheless. Brown Sugar still working on the back. Robert Gibson again dropped across Bobby Eaton's knee. Eaton throat across, foot across the throat, and boy, Rick Gibson fired across that ring and nailed Bobby Eaton.
Could you hear it?
Oh.
Yeah, boy.
Brown Sugar makes the tag. Here's Bobby Eaton. Eaton up on the middle rope. Double forearm across the back. Robert still 4 or 5 feet away from the tag on his brother Rick in the corner. 6 minutes, 45 seconds. 6:45, the time that's expired.
Robert looks like he's maybe trying to double leg him backward to get him off out of that chin hold. He's Eaton with that chin lock on him. Man, he took him forward that time.
Brown Sugar jumped in there, smacked him right in the head. That kept Robert away from the corner, and the tag on Rick. Robert's been in there a long, long time. Suplex by Bobby Eaton. Brown Sugar drops with a knee. Rolls him over. Goes with a chin lock again. Able to pull him backwards like that, putting that stress again on the back. Robert broke free briefly, headed for the corner, but he was caught by Brown Sugar.
Got sandwiched between Sugar from the front and Eaton's knee from behind on the corner there.
8 minutes gone. 8 minutes.
Past the halfway point in this one fall 15-minute time limit bout.
Brown Sugar and Bobby Eaton continuing to double team, but Rick Gibson, boy, he takes after both of them. Now it's Rick against Brown Sugar. Bobby Eaton has Robert Gibson, throws him over the top rope, and that's going to be disqualification. Bobby Eaton firing Robert Gibson into the rope, threw him over the top rope. The referee saw it. There the hands are raised of Rick and Robert Gibson, and they have themselves a win by disqualification over that team right there, Sweet Brown Sugar, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, and Kenny Shane serving as their manager. 8:22 the time.
They worked on Robert Gibson's back over and over and over and over. Kenny Shane wasn't in there, but when Rick Gibson jumped out there on the floor, he whaled Shane with one that'll make him remember his back for a day or two, I can tell you that. So the victors by disqualification, Rick and Robert Gibson, in a rugged opening bout. We've got plenty of more action coming up. We're going to get to it in just a moment. back to Wave Country Championship Wrestling coming up in just a moment. The First Family. Be talking with them in just a second. Sunday, that's tomorrow, my friend. 3 p.m. is the time. Be looking for you out that special day, special times tomorrow, 3 p.m. for the AWA Southern Tag Championship matches. Listen to the first round matches, and you'll see why the First Family buzzing up a storm here. The Monk and the Angel go against Rick and Robert Gibson. Midnight Express against Dundee and Keirn, who, by the way, are the pre-tournament favorites, having just most recently held it. Sweet Brown Sugar, beautiful Bobby Eaton will be facing Joe Stark and Roy Rogers. Stan Lane and Dutch Mantell will be going against Luke Graham and the Dream Machine. Now, in addition to all of the tournament, and by the way, the winner will be decided as the main event in the finals, there will also be a Southern Heavyweight title match with Lawler and Norvell Austin. Jimmy, you got 3 teams entered in the tournament.
Let me tell you something, man. I've been in professional wrestling 2.5 years, and this is undoubtedly the biggest card in the history of professional wrestling that I've even been associated with. But I'm going to tell you something, man. I've got 3 chances to come away with those belts. I've got the Monk and the Angel, Sweet Brown Sugar and beautiful Bobby Eaton, and last but definitely not least, Crazy Luke Graham, and I do mean crazy, and my Dream Machine. 3 chances, man, so I can't wait to get there because one of my teams will come away with those belts, Russell.
Well, you obviously have the edge in terms of numbers, but it's going to take some team to win 3 matches that afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, to win the title.
That's right, and we're going with youth, baby.
Tomorrow.
Youth. We are going with youth. You see, we're building our reputations now, where the people like Dundee's and Keirns, they're living off their past reputations. And you know where that ends up, baby, just like all those old articles, baby, in the bottom of bird cages. This is the future of professional wrestling right now. The First Family of professional wrestling. Look at them. Look at them, baby. The greatest
Very
team in the world.
confident
The
First
greatest
Family.
team in the
See
world.
them tomorrow in the dirt, in the garden.
All right. Standing in the ring right now, Joe Stark, Pat Hutchinson. And when their opponents arrive, we're going to be ready for another 1-fall, 15-minute time limit match. Here they come right here. Again accompanied by Kenny Shane, who now claims he's Kenny Hart.
Well, Kenny Hart, he also, Hart has told me that he is J.R. Hart Jr. and whatever. Go ahead.
It's a 1-fall. 15-minute time limit. Introducing total weight 422 pounds from Arkansas, Joe Stark, and from Memphis, Tennessee, Pat Hutchinson, going against him at 518 pounds. From parts unknown, the Monk, and from France, the Angel. This match 1-fall, 15-minute time limit. Jerry Calhoun, the referee.
Large size team that the team of Stark and Hutchinson will face. Kenny Shane Hart helping off with a robe on the Monk, who is the larger of the two. And the Angel will be starting out. We're ready. Bell time. Here we go. Pat Hutchinson and the Angel. And Pat ducks under and pushes off on him. He better do that. Well, he's got him now. Boy, I'll tell you, this big, powerful guy, we haven't seen him in quite some time. He slams Hutchinson down on the deck. Comes to the corner and tags the Monk. This is the first pairing that we have seen of the Monk and the Angel, and you note there's not a hair on the head between them.
That's right. Boy, a couple of big guys. Together, they outweigh the Hutchinson Stark team by about 100 pounds.
Angel pounding away with that right hand with the glove on it, and he blasts Pat Hutchinson. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Joe Stark never legally got in the ring or otherwise, as a matter of fact, until it was all over with. Joe comes out to add a little protection for his partner as the Angel and the Monk come out in a hurry, victorious over the team of Hutchinson and Stark. As Pat was in there with the Angel, got caught in a bear hug by the Monk. And Kenny Shane takes his charges out of there. What was the time on that?
Simon, it was 53 seconds. 53 seconds only.
Yeah, Pat took a stiff one from the Angel in there, went down on a 1, 2, 3 count, and that, my friends, takes care of the action in our second bout. We've got more of it to come. But later on, we're going to be looking at the King in action here, and that'll be coming up after we take time out for this. Okay, we got the King coming up with Gypsy Joe as opponent in just a moment in a one-fall 15-minute time limit bout. Before he gets in the ring, want to get Jerry in here on the way to the ring to have a word or two with him. Here he is, the King. Good after day.
Is that all the introduction I get?
Well, I could spend a little time on it, Jerry.
With this hanging over my shoulder, that's all the introduction.
The Southern Heavyweight Champion, Jerry the King Lawler.
Thank you. Of all the introductions I've ever heard, that was certainly the most recent. Lance, I appreciate those kind words, and I just want to say that it is nice to once again be out here on television with this belt on my shoulder, the proud owner once again of my belt, as I told you people that I would be. And I want to talk for just a second about the match that I've got coming up. I heard a little history lesson, and I want to give you a little history lesson, or kind of go back in time for just a second if I could, too, you know. I've got this match coming up with Norvell Austin, and I'm not foolish enough to believe for 1 second that Norvell Austin is going to go to that ring by himself. Now, it's true, I did get a call, and they said, would you be willing to make it a no time limit, no disqualification match if you also had the stipulation the winner take all? And I said, yes, I would. Now, that's all of that he said is true, because like you said, the winner take all, that means the loser gets nothing.
That's right.
Winner takes all the money. I do like that. Maybe I am just a tad greedy, you know, I don't know. But I do like those kind of stipulations. And I do think that I can beat Norvell Austin. So I'm not really worried that much about the match. But then I got to thinking, no time limit, no disqualification. That means just anything can take place in that match. They can't stop it. They can't disqualify him. Now, I also know that Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey are going to be at ringside. You realize that, don't you, Lance?
I'm sure
they've got to be sitting right in Norvell Austin's corner. Now, this is a distinct advantage for Norvell Austin. You see, even though I am the King and probably the greatest wrestler to ever step foot in a ring, and I know that I can beat Norvell Austin with no problem whatsoever, I can't always beat Norvell Austin and Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey. Now, those odds would be a little bit in their favor. You're right. So let's talk just a second about in the past. You can remember, Lance, when I used to win all my matches. Every time I stepped in the ring, I would win my match because I only had to worry about my opponent. That's the only person I had to contend with. I didn't have to think about anybody sitting in their corner because I had a man named Sam Bass, bless his heart, sitting in my corner, right?
That is true.
That's right. And did I win my matches or not, Lance?
You did, in fact.
That's
Number one contender for the world title.
That's exactly right. And that's what I want to be again. I want to be the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Not only the contender, I want to win the World Heavyweight Championship again, Lance. And that is what my goal is, and that is what I intend to do. And another time, even though, you know, I'm sure the people weren't crazy about this, but I was also very successful at another time in my career when I only had to worry about my opponent, and I had a guy named Jimmy Hart sitting in my corner, right?
I remember that well, too.
That's right. See, that is an advantage because you only have to think about the man that you're wrestling. You don't have to worry about a guy like Hart running around the ring and jabbing you with a stick and doing things like that, and that is an advantage. And so that is the reason that I made a couple of telephone calls the last couple of days, and I talked to a man that's gone through a similar situation that I went through with Jimmy Hart. You know, Jimmy Hart used to love me. He used to put his hand around me. I mean, I thought I was going to have some turn signals installed somewhere on my body to keep him from breaking his nose. That's how much Jimmy Hart thought of me, because he knew that I was his meal ticket. He wanted me. He wanted to use me to get himself into a position of importance, and he did that. And then when he saw that I couldn't help him anymore, buddy, he stabbed me in the back and tried to have me arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. That's how much Hart thinks of somebody. He is a jerk, a low-life, double-dealing, slimy, stinking, backstabbing scum.
Be careful.
Now, another man that posed a threat to Jimmy Hart, see, anytime anybody poses a threat to Hart, he tries to sit down and figure out a way that he can do away with him, get him out of the picture. And I've called this man that's gone through a similar situation, and I'd like to call him out here right now because I'm going to have him in my corner from now on, especially this week, because I don't want to have to contend with Randy Rose, and I don't want to have to contend with Dennis Condrey. Now, right here is a gentleman, and you people all know him. His name is Danny Davis. That's right. Now, I'm not asking anybody out here right now to come over here and welcome Danny Davis with open arms because I know he's done a lot of things that you people didn't like in the past. Well, I was the same way at one time. All Danny Davis is going to have to do now is prove himself. But you see, Jimmy Hart tried to get rid of Danny Davis. He knew he was a good manager. He knew he was a threat to Hart. So what he did, he got this man to put a mask on and wrestle as the Nightmare, and then he was great. He was Jimmy's Candy Kid, his top team. But then the more wrestlers Jimmy Hart brought in here, he shoved Danny down the ladder, one more notch down the ladder, down the ladder. And now he's got all of these new wrestlers in here, and he doesn't even want anything to do with Danny Davis anymore. So I've called Danny, and I said, Danny, I know you're a good manager. I know, and I explained to him what Jimmy Hart did to me and what he's done to him. And I said, Danny, I'm going to give you an opportunity. If you'll sit in my corner in this match I got coming up with Norvell Austin, take care of Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose, watch my back for me, we may just develop a lasting friendship. And he was more than glad to oblige. Now, like I said, I'm not expecting the people to come out here and welcome him with open arms. He's going to have to prove himself, and I expect Danny Davis to do that. And I'm telling you right now, with him at my side, you are looking at the next world heavyweight champion. Man.
Well, I am a little surprised, to say the very least, that you've got Danny Davis in your corner.
It's just like Jerry said. I don't expect the people to, accept me. I've got to prove myself to them. I think I will be able to prove myself to Jerry Lawler because he had trust enough in me to call, because he knows what I'm going through with Jimmy Hart. He knows that I hate his guts just like he hates his guts, because it's just like he said. When Jimmy Hart is through with you, brother, he's through with you. He'll throw you on the floor and he'll stick his foot right in your face. Well, Hart, I didn't have car trouble. I got one on you. Jerry, I've been in the wrestling profession 3.5 years, and I've only been on one side of the fence, and that's the side of the fence that Jimmy Hart has been on. And they always say the grass is greener on the other side. Well, you're giving me a chance to find out that it is. And I believe, along with you, if I can get your confidence, and I know I can, and if I can get these people's confidence, which I know I can, you will be the champion that you are. My managing qualifications, just like you said, I have managed Buddy and Ken Wayne. At that time, they were the great father and son team. I've managed guys like the Hulk. I've managed guys like Ron Bass, Pete Austin, and last but not least, probably the greatest team of that time was the Blonde Bombers, Wayne Ferris and Larry Latham. Okay, and
very well.
Every one of those that I managed, they held belts. And it will be no exception here. This man right here has got his belt. He got the belt without me, and he can keep it without me. But it's a situation, like he said, where he knows that Norvell Austin is going to have Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey in his corner. Well, I'm going to be there to ensure you that if either of them get up, I'll do my utmost. You have got my solemn oath as a man and a gentleman that I will back you 100%.
That's right. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give a new meaning to the word manager. He is not going to be in my corner to do the things like Jimmy Hart does. He is not going to be in there to try to do any kind of harm at all to my opponent. He is going to be there to offset people like Kenny Shane and Jimmy Hart. And that is exactly what we need around here, baby.
Well,
you've got my word. Last person, I'm telling you, you've got my word, Jerry Lawler. As a man and a gentleman, I will not turn my back on you.
Okay. We will have an opportunity. Is he going to be in the corner today in your match with Gypsy Joe? If you would get in the ring, we would proceed with action in here. And an unusual situation. The King is the one who made the stipulations to trust Danny. He's in his corner, and we'll take a look at it. Davey, here we go.
It's one fall, 15-minute time limit. Introducing from Romania, 224 pounds, Gypsy Joe. Joe grabbing Lawler over in the corner during the introduction. All right, we'll forget the introductions and just get on with it here. Joe stepped into that ring and headed for Lawler, grabbing him right in the middle of trying to get the official introductions underway. Joe dragged Lawler across the ring with a heel. Lawler backs into a corner, comes out of there battling. Upper part of the arm. There's a cover, 2, 3.
Wow, that was it.
Lawler gets the win. Oh, boy. Joe jumped him over there. Lawler was not ready. He was about to hand his belt and his crown out to Danny Davis, his new manager. Joe jumped him. Now look out, Joe's got Kenny Shane's cane up there, stalking around with it. Joe forced the action. Lawler answered, and in 34 seconds, the King has himself a win over Gypsy Joe. Joe's still not finished. He grabs the Hart's chair, throws it in the ring. Lawler picks it up and says, all right, you want to play with the chair? Come on in here. Ooh. Well, I guess word of advice for Joe, leave it alone and get on out of here. Get back to the dressing room.
He is doing that now, but a little late.
A little late, you're right. And there is the winner. In 34 seconds, Jerry Lawler.
We were in the process of getting a chair for manager Danny Davis in Lawler's corner, and before the chair ever got over there, Lawler had taken things into his own hand and ended that little jewel right up. Boy, I'll tell you, when he got it going for a 1, 2, 3. We'll take time out, be back in just a moment. All right, more action coming. You want to stay and see every bit of it, as a matter of fact, here on Channel 3's Championship Wrestling. Let me run down again the card for you, but before I do, coming up tomorrow afternoon, I want to remind you of Thursday, March the 18th, Leopold, Indiana, sponsored by the Perry Central High Boosters Club. Should be a big day of action right there in Leopold, Indiana. Now, Rick and Robert Gibson in the opening round will be going against the Monk and the Angel, the Express against Dundee and Keirn. Joe Stark and Roy Rogers have the tough job of facing Sugar and Beautiful Bobby. Then it's going to be Stan Lane and Dutch Mantell against Luke Graham and the Dream Machine. Now, that's all first-round action. You understand, in order to win the AWA Southern Tag titles, they will have to go through the semifinal rounds. That is, the winners of those opening round bouts. And then the finals will be held as the main event right there in the Louisville Gardens. Don't you miss it tomorrow, 3 p.m. We've got one of them in. Now we got two of them in. Bill Dundee and the Invader in action for this next bout. It is a one-fall, 15-minute time limit bout. And with the official introductions, Dave.
All right, it's going to be from parts unknown at 193 pounds, the Invader going against, from Australia, 214 pounds, the superstar, Bill Dundee. One fall, 15-minute time limit. Jerry Calhoun, the referee.
Yowza, bell time, and here we go. Billy Dundee, the Invader, going at it. Bill goes around behind, waist locks him. Nice takedown, but the Invader scrambling, gets underneath the ropes, and that will call for a break. Break, the referee got. Double leg dive as Billy went down, concentrating on one now. Takes that toe to the outside. Man, that is painful.
Invader wisely headed for the rope, pulled himself under, and referee Jerry Calhoun was there to get the break.
Leg scissors as Dundee popped him down again, hooked up the arm. And Bill has him over there, but he is very close to the rope. Don't know whether he'll be able to hold him in that spot or not. Rolls it over, gets a 1 count. The Invader kicks out of it. One fall, 15 minutes.
Billy expressing his confidence to the crowd. They were agreeing with him, but he has the situation pretty well in hand right now.
He has had the total upper hand since the opening. Big backdrop as Billy takes him off, heaves him in the air across the ring, and the Invader bounces off that back, and he's back up again. Side headlock, a nifty mare puts the Invader down on the deck. We'll be looking at Norvell Austin in action. Also, the Dream Machine and Crazy Luke Graham will be in action on Championship Wrestling. And as the break was called for, Billy shoots a foot out there to the midsection of the Invader.
Little insurance to make sure he didn't get nailed by the Invader on the break.
No break there. He bangs him on the rope. Bill winds him up, turns him over. Can he hold it? 2, 3, got it. Dundee with a goodie. Wheeled off the ropes. Spun the Invader around and got him down into a pin position. Got a 1-2-3, and the winner, Bill Dundee.
2 minutes, 15 seconds the time on it.
Well, by golly, we have had a couple of them even shorter than that, and that is a relatively short one, as a matter of fact. Tell you what, let's just hang right here before we take a break and see if we can't get another bout underway, as we have had some short bouts, and we'll try to keep the action in the ring. Here comes Norvell Austin. His opponent today will be Dennis Upton, and we're back in the ring. Dave, let's just continue right here.
Yeah, all right. This will be a one-fall, 15-minute time limit match. Tupelo, Mississippi, 212 pounds. Dennis Upton goes against, from Memphis, Tennessee, 227 pounds, Norvell Austin. One-fall, 15-minute time limit. Referee Jerry Calhoun.
Okay, about ready for it. And here we go, bell time. To say the very least, Dennis has a slight edge in height in this bout.
Yeah, he does. He's
About 8 inches or so.
tall, lanky fellow from Tupelo, Mississippi. However, he is giving away weight to Norvell Austin, about 14, 15 pounds. Norvell outweighs him.
Nice clean break by Norvell. The referee called for it, and Norvell just backed it up. Let Dennis off the ropes. Got him back on the turnbuckle right now. And again, referee Jerry Calhoun, that time, he made him pay for letting the hands down. Takes Upton out of the corner and over the shoulders.
Norvell with that wicked lower leg and knee. There's a knee lift. Dennis body slam by Norvell Austin. Norvell backs him to the rope, whips him across the way, catches him with a drop kick. Norvell leads with a foot, follows with a forearm.
Both of which were caught by Dennis Upton's head, as a matter of fact.
Backbreaker across the knee. Upton really being worked on here by Norvell Austin. We're less than a minute and a half into this one, and Norvell Austin has just been pounding on Dennis Upton at will. Referee wants Norvell to back up to let him off the rope. Oh, smack he hit him with there.
Norvell backed up to get swinging room to hit him with that chop right there. That's why he backed up. Norvell just staying right on top of Upton on the rope. Backdrop.
Norvell back at it, picks him up, and a cocoa butt. And a cover. 1, 2, and 3. Norvell all the way in that one, in control. And he wins it in 2 minutes, 8 seconds over Dennis Upton, and some question maybe he could have won it even earlier than that if he'd gone for a pin earlier. But he wins it again, the time 2:08.
Norvell Austin the winner, and another rather quick one. We've got more action. We'll see the big dream machine, Crazy Luke Graham, here on Championship Wrestling in just a moment. Okay, we're about ready for action in the ring, and we're going to get back to it in just one moment. Got big tag action with Crazy Luke Graham and the Dream Machine making their first appearance on Championship Wrestling as a tag team. But before we get to it, want to get the superstar in here. Billy, good to have you in today, partner. I know that you and Steve have got to be faced with mixed emotions. One, about the situation that occurred with the AWA not sanctioning the action that took place. As a blessing in a sense because of things that turned out and the belts left. But you've got the tournament coming up, and obviously one of the favorites will be the former Southern Tag champs, Dundee and Keirn.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Lance. I'd just like to say this before I get on to this little thing here. Jimmy Hart, hey, Snake, if you could win them belts by the biggest and the ugliest, weirdest-looking teams that are around, brother, you'd already win them. You just have to walk to the ring. I have never seen so many ugly men in one camp. Now, That's right. I mean, you seen that monk and that angel? Only the mother could kiss that face, I guarantee you. Now, let me tell you something, Snake, and you listen good. Maybe Steve Keirn and Bill Dundee did come out here last week and let their mouth overload the button. They couldn't carry it through, but the intention was good. And he did the job in Norvell, Austin, brother, that he promised he would do now. Get this, Snake. We was the favorites going there last week, and we're going to be the favorites going there this week. Now, I don't mean that to sound braggadocious, or I'm out here blowing Steve Keirn's and mine horn. Steve couldn't be here today. He's got a couple of little things that he had to do by himself. He just said, say this and tell old Lance. He said, Lance, you're going to be
All right. Wait a minute. Well, you all just stay back now. Let's not get into any fight.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Hey, look, I want to talk to you. I'm on my knees. Let me ask you something, big boy. I hear so much hot air out here, but I want to ask you something. Why don't you come with the family? You need to be with the family, man. This is 1982, Dundee. 82. Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy. Let's get some help out here, can't we? Martin, the first family, Sugar coming off that post on it. Well, it takes four of you. Four against one. Yeah, you're great. You got to be America's great sportsman in there. Four of you against one.
Man, they're going to call him Dr. Hook when this is
okay.
over.
Can we get somebody out here to help us stop this thing? Sugar dropping down. Here comes Lawler. Another cheap, lousy shot by the first family. Four of them jumping on Bill Dundee. Yeah, we need somebody to help get Bill out of here. His shoulder is injured in here. Yeah, thank you, Rick McCord, Danny Davis out. Yeah. Well, once again, First Family making their usual type of victory. Sometimes I wonder if it's the only kind they can get when they got them outnumbered 4-on-1. Let's now get ready for our final bout, Davey. Back to Dave, and we'll take a look for the action coming up in our final expiration of time match.
All right, this match will be to the expiration of time. Tag team match coming up, and what we'll do, we'll wrestle as long as we have time available for it, and then when that time runs out, we add up the number of falls that each team has won. Whoever's won the most wins the match. Simple as that. Might be one fall, might be 4 or 5. In the ring right now, Rick McCord and Chief Thundercloud as partner. Waiting for their opponents. The Dream Machine, you know. I think most of you probably know his partner, too. Crazy Luke Graham. They step up to ringside. Expiration of time match. Total weight of 419 pounds. From Salem, Virginia, Rick McCord. And from San Carlos, Arizona, Chief Thundercloud. At a total weight of 566 pounds. From New Orleans, the Dream Machine. And from New York City, Luke Graham. This match to the expiration of time. Referee Jerry Calhoun.
Okay. The Dream you can see with a mask on and on his left climbing out on the apron. For some of those who may not have been here when Crazy Luke Graham was on our championship wrestling before. Big Luke is just that. He is even bigger than the Dream Machine, boy, I'll tell you. And that makes a sizable pair.
Boy, it sure does. Sizable and on occasion mean, too. Matter of fact, on frequent occasions.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think you could say that. McCord, nice move. Used good leverage and took the Dream over and down. McCord. Chief Thundercloud. And the Dream Machine moves McCord across the ring. There's that big clothesline, and boy, I'll tell you, when he unloads that arm on you, you know you have had your feet knocked out from under you. Green slams him into the knee of Luke Graham. Big Luke coming in. And he just pitched McCord out. And a big elbow from the large gentleman, Luke Graham. Graham hip toss. Drops down with a knee, tags the Dream Machine. McCord really never got a chance to get it on track. He has been bounced around by the Dream and by Luke since the bout started.
Rick away in at 2:12, 2:14, something like that. Oh, Dream missed with that one.
All right, he did get over and tag the Chief. Thundercloud. Whip on the Dream, but he takes the big foot. Dream covers him up, 2, 3, and that's going to be it. Not long on the first ball of action in a total dominance by the team of the Dream Machine and Luke Graham. No question, an impressive opener as Kenny Shane is up telling them how great they were, and I'm sure that they don't need any of that. I saw it, Dream. I saw it. So, Dream and Crazy Luke, first ball that we'd seen them together in, and they were impressive.
They were, too. They won it, minute 56 seconds.
Minute 56 seconds, and there's more action in this expiration of time match. We'll take time out. Be back in just a moment. Okay, back into Wave Country Championship Wrestling coming up in just a moment. Still lots of action yet to go. Reminder, Thursday, May 18th, March the 18th, that is, Leopold, Indiana. And Sunday, that's tomorrow, 3 p.m., right there in the Louisville Gardens. You are going to see the AWA Southern Tag Championship Tournament. You'll see it from the very opening round, some sensational teams put together, and right down to the final round when a brand new Southern Tag Championship team will be established. Now, that's not all the action either. You're also going to see, as we told you earlier, Jerry the King Lawler put the Southern Heavyweight title on the line against one tough guy, Norvell Austin. Norvell, your chances here in Louisville tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Exactly right, Mr. Lance Russell. I'm going to tell you one thing. You better tell it to Lawler. You've been running away from me for 10 long years, and now I got you back up in a corner. Now, where you going to go now, Jerry Lawler? We in a match that's no time limit, no disqualification for his strap.
And
mind you,
winner take all.
That's right.
Somebody's
Thank you very
working
much.
for nothing.
That's right. Thank you very much. And I don't work for nothing for no man, Jerry Lawler. That means I'm going to have my guns loaded and coming at you straight as an arrow, my friend. I'm a Memphis man, just like you. You're a so-called king, but what am I? I ain't got nothing to lose. The great Muhammad Ali in this great town of Louisville, Kentucky. You understand, a great champion in boxing. But now you're looking at the greatest champion in wrestling, the greatest champion wrestling ever seen, Jerry Lawler. So you bring them loaded just like I said. And when you leave, you're going to leave empty. I'm going to have that heavyweight strap on my way.
Well, tomorrow afternoon, Norvell Austin out of the Midnight Express will be there, and he will be challenging Jerry the King Lawler. You got to see that one single match. Additionally, don't forget, the AWA Southern Tag Tournament, the entire thing from beginning to end will be going.
Express gonna be out there with me. I don't step
tomorrow.
In the arena alone.
Checking our time, Davey. We don't have really that much time left, as a matter of fact, for any more action in here. So, what about a recap of today?
All right, the opening match today, Gibson brothers, Rick and Robert, going against Bobby Eaton and Sweet Brown Sugar. We had a change there. It had been Nightmare and Speed schedule, but a change occurred. Rick and Robert Gibson defeated Bobby Eaton and Sweet Brown Sugar in a little over 8 minutes. It was the Monk and the Angel team. What a formidable tag team they make, too. They're tough. Joe Stark and Pat Hutchinson lost in 53 seconds to that tag team. It was Jerry Lawler in only 34 seconds, defeating Gypsy Joe. Gypsy Joe jumped him before the bell sounded, got Lawler a little upset, and a half minute later, Lawler was the winner of that match. Bill Dundee over the Invader, and it was Norvell Austin defeating Dennis Upton. Then the expiration of time match. Turns out we only had the time there for the Dream Machine to win that first ball, a minute 56 seconds. The Dream Machine, Crazy Luke Graham are the winners of the match. over Rick McCord and Chief Thundercloud. Good action all the way through today.
A couple of interesting revelations on Championship Wrestling today, David. We had first the announcement, in case you missed it early in the show, that the AWA last week's action where Steve Keirn lost at that time, I've used that in quotes, the Southern Tag belts. It was not approved. It was a non-sanctioned match. Wasn't the right amount of time. One man can't lose them. So the AWA ordered a tournament to establish a winner of the AWA Southern Tag Championship. Also, Jerry the King Lawler announced the appointment of Danny Davis as his manager. That's all the time we got. We'll be looking for you next week on Championship Wrestling. And until then, for Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of Championship Wrestling.